Alright my friends, welcome to another video. In this one, I'm gonna break down specifically how to scale a Shopify brand to $1 million per year. We're gonna do the maths first, and then we're gonna go into part one. We're gonna talk about the product, what product to choose, or what to do with your actual product right now, the ad framework that gets you to $1 million a year, systems to scale, the number one mistake, and then I'll give you a few implementable conclusions. So you have a checklist of 5 to 6 points where you can actually watch the video and take one thing and implement it next week. So that being said, let's organize this and we get started. I made the maths already so that we don't have to spend a lot of time now with calculations and everything. So let's make the maths. $1 million per year. This is gonna be 83K per month if we break it down into a monthly revenue average. And then if we assume a distribution of revenue sources that is very simple, 60% from ads, 30% from email, 10% from organic. I'm not gonna complicate it with Google Ads and attribution and stuff like this. We're gonna say it's like that for the case of the example. So if we assume 60% comes from ads, and this is gonna be a focus for the video, then we have that $49,800 will come from Facebook ads. Ad revenue is gonna be $49,800. So for the example, we're gonna say 50K. Okay, now it's a little bit more simple. We went from $1 million per year to 50K ad revenue per month. Okay, now let's think about your costs. So to be profitable, based on my COGS and everything, I'm gonna need a ROAS of 3, for example. ROAS of 3, I'm happy. It's not like a crazy ROAS, but I'm profitable, I'm happy, all is good. All right, so if we do 50K divided by 3, we're gonna have the required monthly ad spend, 16.7K. And now we break this on a daily basis, and on average it's gonna be $567 in daily ad spend. Cool. And now we have a model that we can play with, because it is, if I can spend $567 on Facebook ads every day of the year at a ROAS of 3, then I'm gonna make $1 million per year. This is oversimplified, I know, but it gives you a model that you can actually crave, like you can design a path to get there. What is the path to $1 million a year? Who knows? But what is the path to spending $500 a day on ads? Very easy, we can design it. So, the advanced ones here are gonna say, what about seasonality? Every day is not the same. I cannot spend $500 every day. I agree with you. So let's talk about seasonality and then we'll start with the video. More maths. So if seasonality is a thing for you and it's for everybody, imagine a business, a brand that makes $1 million per year has a monthly revenue of something like this. So Q1 is pretty tough, then November, December are great, July, whatever. Let's say it's like that. Now remember that 60% will come from ads. So the monthly ad revenue is gonna be like this. Okay, and because we're working at a ROAS of 3, our monthly ad spend to have a ROAS of 3 goes like that. So if in January I've gotta hit 37K from ads, then it means that I should be spending 12K. That's it. Or if in November I've got to do 97K from ads, that means that in November I'm going to spend 32K. How are we going to do that? Let's see. And now from the monthly, we can derive the daily ad spend required to get there. So now I see that in November, I've got to average 1,000 a day in ad spend. Okay, we can work on that. And January, 400 a day on ad spend. Okay. So you see, this is the very first thing we have to do. If you want to do 10 million next year, if you want to do 25 million next year, if you want to do 100K next year, this is the very first thing to be done. Now, after this, let's see the $1 million product rule. So these are examples of products that, in my opinion, are not going to make you $1 million. In my opinion, based on my experience, I didn't even introduce myself. So, my name is Manuel Gomez. I'm a Facebook ad scaling specialist for the last 8 years. Been in e-commerce for over 6 years now. And I basically help brands scale through Facebook ads, consulting, and a bunch of different strategies that I've been developing through the years. I contributed to some big scaling. Like for example, with this brand, I joined them at 700K per month. And then I helped them go all the way up to 3.3 million per month. This one from 40K per month all the way up to 711K per month. And this one, I don't know, something like 80, 90K a month all the way up to 300K a month. And that's it. I'm actively in the trenches. These are the last 2 months on Facebook ads. Total ad spend, it's 600K, ROAS 3.8, purchase conversion value 2.4. So yeah, we're doing great. Anyways, now you have the intro. Let's get to business. So again, in my opinion, these are not gonna make you $1 million. Now this could make you $1 million. These are, for example, collagen. These are powders, some liquids, things that you can drink, little bottles. Okay. Then we've got this LED mask. This, I mean, it's right now, like the big brands are established already, but still it's a big market. And this one is basically sneakers from Axel Arigato. It's a brand that I like. So, and this one, jewelry. What do these things have in common? So here's the formula. For the product, these products cover a mass desire, which means millions and millions of people have an active desire for those products. At the same time, the products will allow me to have a margin, net margin, to fuel ads. So that means I'm not gonna sell something cheaper than, I don't know, 30 euros, $30. Thinking about AOB, like your product, your front-end product that it looks like $10, but then eventually everybody's gonna be spending like $50, then it's okay. And the COGS, more or less, I know guys that are really good with e-commerce finance, but more or less 50%. Like if the COGS are very, very high, you cannot pay anything for the ads. It should be easy to ship, to not have issues later, visual, easy to advertise, and there's certain competition, but you don't have this annoying 0.44 cents Temu type of competition where Temu actually develops a really good product, and then how do you justify selling at $32, So that's a pretty cool formula, pretty easy. Now, point number 2, the ad framework that gets you there. What I want to communicate in this video is not the most technical ads manager hack to triple the ROAS and kill your competitors. I want to give you a framework that you can work on in a loop, that you can work on it every single day and develop it and make it bigger. So point number 1, you want to find one mass market ad angle. 2, you want to find 3 ad creative formats. And 3, you want to find one funnel. When you have this, things become scalable. And to be very honest with you, you really can spend 500 a day with this. You don't need more than this. 500 a day, unless you tell me I'm in a country where I only have 1 million people living there. So then we talk about this other thing. Let's do it with an example. So let's see Solar Wave. This would be, let's say, ad angle. Let's say here they will be testing at different ad angles. Okay, so made for tired moms. Then here they say, I want to feel pretty again. I don't have time. Okay, my husband. Okay, for women 40 plus. In reality, these ads, all of them, they share a common thing, which is they're targeting older women. And to be honest, the ad angle here would just be pretty and young again. Usually I would recommend you do an angle testing exercise, as I mentioned in many of my videos. Here they're testing sub angles, but still it's good for the point that we're making. So within this angle, they develop sub angles that are going to be useful later to shoot, for example, UGC videos. So here they're gathering information. They do a simple image and they see the CTR. They want to see where people click. Angles. Be pretty and young again, target older women. Now after this, what do? They hire UGC models that look a little bit older. And look at what this one says. I have a beauty hack on how to look younger. And this is, I don't know, she might be, let's say 40 years old. I'm not good with ages, but 40 years old. So because these ads here are working very well with this 40 plus communication, after that, they decide to expand. After the validation, they decide to expand into more complicated formats. 1 to look youthful. If I'm young, this angle will not resonate with me. But because it's proven that this look young again works in images and simple images with high CTR, then they are deploying a lot of resources to make these videos. But we don't stay here. After this, what we do, by the way, I don't work with this brand, but it's a really cool example because they do a really good work. I didn't realize how tired my eyes looked until I saw the difference. And then look at this. This is very interesting. 42. So this is a listicle landing page, 5 reasons why. Typical one. And here we show somebody that's, I don't know, 40 to 50 years old. They're not featuring young models here because they know their angles. And that's what they say. 1 million tal, and they have a lot of proof. So, I mean, in this case, if I was doing the listicle, I would make it a little bit more similar to the ads. So if in the ads, we say something like secret hack to look younger, then I would do a listicle talking about a hack to look younger. But still, this is very good. 5 reasons women swear these red light masks transform their neck and chest. So that's a different angle, but changing the result. So one is for the face, the other one is for the neck and chest, which is also very nice. Another way to expand your target market. Sun damage. Here, I would mention something about the age. That would be better. But still, I mean, you see these and you're not like, yeah, she looks 20 years old. No. So their target connects with that. So anyways, point number 1, test different angles with simple images. Point number 2, the angles that work very well, use them to create complex ads, videos. And then with these angles that work really well, put in the time and effort. With AI, it's not that slow. The time and effort to create these landing pages. Because then everything is like a full experience. I see this promise and then I go into the landing page that fulfills this promise. I don't go into a product page and the first thing that I see is that the product is going to be $300 and I bounce because it's too expensive. It's not good. And then, I mean, for scaling, again, I'm not going to break it down in the video, but basically use a proper account structure. If you have just one product, structure the account by angle and have multiple angles. I'm going to confuse you with this, but watch my video about ad account structure. It's on the YouTube channel. The other one, follow the patterns that you see on your store. So if you see that typically people buy a lot more during the weekends, try to spend 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% more during the weekends on Facebook ads. Go for manual overbidding. I break it down in many of my videos to basically bully your competitors. Don't be scared of high frequency and run a flash campaign every 2 months. This will be a framework. Again, I don't want to get crazy technical, but primarily work on the angles, study the market, find a few ad creatives that work really well for you, stick to those, and work on having one funnel. Work on the funnel, improve it until you have a really good conversion rate and conversion metrics. Part 3, systems for scaling without breaking. So things that people typically ignore, and I've got many friends that have big Amazon brands and they are very, very conscious of this. So many times when we're having dinner, we talk about these things. I'm not a pro on this, but I've heard a lot from 7-figure brands on Amazon and how they do it. So bottlenecks that could difficult your time to get to $1 million a year, inventory problems, cash flow problems, and a customer service that's basically overloaded. So I just mentioned these ones because, and I've seen many people with an inventory problem, they cascade because e-commerce is a cycle. Like one thing is feeding the other, which feeds the other, which feeds the other. So if I have an inventory problem and I still have orders to fulfill, then the customer service is going to be affected. And if those orders are not fulfilled and I still have salaries to pay, I'm going to have a cash flow problem. And the inventory is going to take 6 weeks, but I'm not going to fire my team, another cash flow thing, and then taxes come. So everything is a cycle, and I've seen terrible stories. Just keep this present. Okay. Part 4, the number one mistake that kills brands before 1 million. I would say trying to scale too many products at once or trying to scale too many channels at once. The grass is not greener on the other side. And before 1 million, I would say try to become the master at one thing. Okay? My honest advice, one channel, I would say Facebook ads, one platform, one product. In this one product, it's gonna be 1 to 2 angles and 1 to 2 funnels. Of course, you have to do social media and email and all of these things, and a little bit of Google Ads, for example, but you don't want to put the crazy focus there and split your focus into a bunch of different platforms, a bunch of different traffic sources, trying to sell a bunch of different products, each product with different angles, each angle with different formats, and each format with a different landing page. That's a mess. So before 1 million, no complicated, no complexity. Again, 83K a month, no complexity. After that, and I'm working, for example, with a brand that makes 25 million a year, 25 to 30 million a year. There is complexity there, massive complexity, but it's spread through a big team, so we can handle that. Part 5, implementable conclusions. Quick checklist. First one, make your personal case maths. So take your yearly goal and make the exact same maths that I did at the beginning. Yearly goal, the percentage of where the revenue comes from approximately, how much Facebook ad spend you need to get there, or how many emails do you need to send, whatever. And then break it down into months and into days, and then take into account the seasonality, and you will see in what direction you have to push. The other one, think about mass desire. I was talking about products, but if you have a product that's fixed, try to think about a mass desire that fulfills a need to millions of people, but at the same time, like everybody's gonna be interested. I would not go super niche, even though you can make 1 million and more by going niche because it's not a huge figure in e-commerce, but it's just easier if you go mass desire and you find winning angles in a mass desire. Use this angle, format, and funnel. And after that, you want to implement the scaling hacks, but only after that. Put the focus there. And the scaling hacks are going to be intraday wave surfing based on Shopify patterns of when people buy, how much getting the salary affects that, and then you want to do manual overbidding with cost caps and all of those things. But again, focus. And finally, before huge scaling, pay attention to cash flow, stock, and customer service, because again, it can become a nightmare. So at least do a little bit of something there, have it under control, don't overscale if the stock is very low, etc. So yeah, that's the video. I hope the framework as a whole was useful to you. If you need any help regarding scaling to 1 million a year, 10 million a year, anything, I've pretty much seen it all. And we have a community with a bunch of guys that are shooting to 1 million a year or that are way past 1 million a year. We gather together, we meet together every week or every 2 weeks. I also speak to them one-on-one to coach them and consult them on specific stuff. We have a pretty good time. So if you want info on that, you've got the link in the description. Yeah, basically there's an application process, fill all of that, and we speak and we see your case. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you did. I'm going to post another one next week on something about scaling and good stuff. So I'll see you there. Bye-bye. Ciao.